A seismic vessel was detained in local waters yesterday by Venezuelan Navy, which has sparked many criticisms. Here are the details in this report. The Foreign Affairs Ministry today confirmed that a seismic vessel was taken from Guyanese waters and detained by Venezuelan authorities on the island of Margarita, where it remains docked. The ministry said government is of the firm belief that the actions taken by the Venezuelan Navy vessel constitutes a serious threat to the peace of this sub-region, for which it strongly condemns. It also said a breach of international laws and conventions occurred, especially those applications governing maritime jurisdiction. The government, in a strong statement, has called for the immediate release of the crew and vessel by the Venezuelan authorities. It was noted in the release that this move comes just after an August 31, 2013 visit by Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro to Guyana, in which he and President Donald Ramotar recommitted to the United Nations Good Offices process. This office was set up by the UN in search for a peaceful and practical settlement of the border controversy between the two countries. On the very same day that President Maduro was in Guyana, there was another intrusion at Etheringbank Region 7 by Venezuelan soldiers. Meanwhile, the ministry said the RV Technic Perdana, which is under contract with Anadarko, was searching for hydrocarbons in the Rima block offshore Guyana when it was detained. Oil exploration in Guyana's waters has in the past attracted interference by both Caracas and Suriname in the west. Suriname's gunboats chased an oil rig contracted by CGX in June of 2000. This has sparked years of dispute until its substantial resolution in Guyana's favor after it formally went before the International Law of the Sea Tribunal in Hamburg, Germany. Reporting for the Evening News, I'm Samuel Suknandan. The main opposition party has condemned the move made by the Venezuelan Navy to detain another vessel carrying out seismic studies for Guyana's oil exploration. Here's that story. APNU leader David Granger said the move constitutes a threat to international peace. Granger is therefore calling on the Venezuelan government to desist from resorting to armed force in its relations with Guyana. The APNU also expressed concern over the actions of the Venezuelan Navy in Guyana's economic zone. The party said it understands that the Navy entered Guyana's waters at about 16 hours on Thursday. A seismic survey vessel was conducting studies here at the time. The Navy instructed the vessel to proceed to Venezuelan waters, where they were detained.
I do believe the Venezuelan Bolivarian Navy here has acted in a manner which is inconsistent with the line that was taken by President Maduro himself when he was in Georgetown, when he gave the impression that Venezuela was prepared to resolve this matter diplomatically and not to use force. So to come back to your question, I hope it's not too long-winded a question, but you have to link it with President Chavez's position, you have to link it with President Maduro's visit, you have to link it with the Etheringbank incident, and I think those four incidents taken together, this includes yesterday's incident, would show that there are elements in Venezuela which are definitely bent on reviving Venezuela's claim to the Essequibo.
This is not the first time that Venezuelan authorities have meted out this sort of action to Guyana. For the Evening News, I'm Samuel Suknandan.
This is the Evening News for Monday, October 14, 2013. I'm Michael Young. Thanks for joining us. Making the headlines tonight, Suknandan report, you will hear that the meeting between Guyana's Foreign Affairs Minister, Carolyn Rodriguez Burkett, and Venezuela's Minister of External Relations, Elias Hugua, is slated to take place on Thursday, October 17, where the ongoing border issue will be discussed. Details in this story.
A team of foreign diplomats headed by Foreign Affairs Minister Carolyn Rodriguez Burkett will be heading to neighboring Venezuela on Thursday to discuss the recent seizure of a vessel that was operating in Guyanese waters. The U.S. vessel, which was arrested by the Venezuelan Navy, has arrived in Margarita and is currently under investigation by the Venezuelan authorities. According to the Associated Press, 5 American citizens were among the crew of the U.S. chartered oil exploration ship when it was looking for oil in Guyana's waters. The foreign news news agency noted that the crew would be held on board while an investigation continued. A local station in Venezuela was told that the research ship was conducting unauthorized scientific work in Venezuela's exclusive economic zone and that the case had been turned over to prosecutors. Venezuela's foreign ministry had said Friday that the ship and its crew would be subject to an inquiry under the international maritime law and pursuant to the safeguarding of our sovereignty in maritime areas. According to a press statement from the Foreign Affairs Ministry here, upon the arrest of the ship, contact was made with Venezuela. The vessel was surveying the seafloor on Thursday, October 10, when it was approached by a Venezuelan Navy vessel and forced to sail to Venezuela's Margarita Island. Government here has since maintained that the vessel was taken control of by the Venezuelan Navy while in Guyana's waters. However, the Venezuelan government is of the view that the vessel was in their territory illegally. Guyana has since warned the Venezuelan authorities that their actions in the disputed Essequibo region constituted a serious threat to peace in the region. For the Evening News, I'm Samuel Suknani.
This is the Evening News for Tuesday, October 15, 2013. I'm Michael Young. Thanks for joining us. Making the headlines tonight. U.S. vessel released by Venezuelan authorities, but not before the captain is charged. The U.S. seismic vessel recently seized by the Venezuelan Navy for allegedly operating within its waters has been released. More details from Samuel Suknandon.
The Venezuelan Navy had boarded the Technic Perdana on Thursday in disputed waters off the coast of Guyana and sailed it to Venezuela's Margarita Island. Caracas accused the crew of operating illegally in Venezuelan waters. The BBC reported that the owners said all 36 crew, among them 5 U.S. citizens, had been released also. Owners Sapura Encana Petroleum expressed their gratitude to the Venezuelan government for caring for the safety and welfare of the crew, which comprises multiple nationalities, during the time they were at Margarita Island, and also for releasing the vessel. The Venezuelan government has not given an indication as to why it decided to let the ship sail. The country had accused the Technic Perdana of carrying out illegal activities within a maritime area claimed by Venezuela. Government here is maintaining that the Technic Perdana was in Guyana waters when the incident took place. The two foreign ministers are still due to meet on Thursday in Trinidad and Tobago to discuss the ship's seizure. The Technic Perdana, which has been contracted out of the Texas-based company Anadarko Petroleum, had been carrying out a survey of the seabed off the coast of Essequibo. Reporting for the Evening News, I'm Samuel Suknandon.
Thanks, Samuel. Meanwhile, the El Universal News Agency is reporting that the Venezuelan Attorney General's office today charged Ukrainian Captain Igor Bekirov for allegedly violating Venezuela's exclusive economic zone on board the oil exploration U.S. ship Technic Perdana, which was intercepted by Venezuelan authorities on October 10 in Guyana. In a preliminary hearing, this newscast understands that the designated prosecutor, Andres Bravo, charged Igor Bekirov for allegedly failing to meet the special regime of security zones as specified in the organic laws on water areas and national security. The Attorney General's office also said in a press release that the 4th Crime Control Court in the state of Esperanza, northeast Venezuela, released the captain pending trial and banned him from conducting oil exploration and research activities in the Venezuelan territory. Further, the captain will have to appear in court for pending proceedings and will be summoned through the Guyanese embassy to Caracas.
This is Evening News for Thursday, October 17, 2013. I'm Samuel Suknandon. Thanks for joining us. Making the headlines in this report, you will hear that Venezuela and Guyana foreign ministers met earlier today in Trinidad and Tobago to discuss several issues relating to the seizure of a U.S. ship which was in Guyana's exclusive economic zone. Here's more. Foreign diplomats and government officials from Guyana and Venezuela met this afternoon in Port-au-Spain, Trinidad to discuss the recent incident that saw a U.S. seismic vessel operating in Guyanese waters being seized by the Venezuelan Navy last Thursday. Foreign Affairs Minister Carolyn Rodriguez-Burkett told this newscast earlier today that the team will meet to discuss a way forward regarding the border issue between the two South American countries and the recent spat. The team from Ghana consisted of Minister Rodrigues Burkett, Environment Minister Robert Pusod, Director General of Foreign Affairs at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Elizabeth Harper, Guyana's Ambassador Rudolph Keith George, Advisor Rudolph Collins, Guyana's Ambassador to UNASUR, and Deputy Commissioner of GGMC, Newell Dennison. The Venezuelan Navy had boarded the seismic vessel on Thursday in disputed waters off the coast of Guyana and sailed to its Venezuela's Margarita Island. Caracas accused the crew of operating illegally in Venezuelan waters. Government here is maintaining that the vessel was in Guyana's waters when this incident took place. The vessel, which had been contracted out of the United States, had been carrying out a survey of the seabed off the coast of Essequibo. For the Evening News, I'm Samuel Suknanda. This is Evening News for Friday, October 18, 2013. I'm Samuel Suknandan. Thanks for joining us. Making the headlines tonight. Opposition leader David Granger said the time has come for President Donald Ramotar to convene a Border and National Security Committee in wake of the Venezuelan Navy move to seize an oil exploration ship in Guyana's waters. Svetlana Marshall explains why.
Opposition leader David Granger said the Border and National Security Committee should focus on the implications of the unprecedented seizure of an unarmed scientific survey vessel by the Venezuelan Navy last week. Granger pointed out that the vessel was conducting exploration in Guyana Executive Economic Zone following permission by the government of Guyana.
Granger's call is based on the June 2001 report of the Border and National Security Committee, of which he was co-chairman. The report recommended, inter alia, that the highest level of consultations for discussion and resolution of issues pertaining to border and national security issues should take place between the President and leader of the opposition. This level of engagement represents the core of the bipartisan approach.
He further explained that the report, when submitted to the former President Barry Jagdeo, encouraged the government to establish a standing committee of Parliament to address border issues. He opined that if the report was adopted by the administration, Guyana would not have been faced with such a dilemma.
The report recommended further that the bipartisan process should be supported by a technical academic component in the form of an Institute of Border Studies, a strengthened frontiers unit of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and the review or consolidation of existing institutions where there is overlap and duplication in functions, or which simply are ineffective.
The opposition leader said he believes that the act by the Venezuelan Navy was done to intimidate Guyana. The opposition also expressed astonishment at a joint statement issued subsequent to the meeting with the Foreign Affairs Minister Caroline Rodrigues Burkett and Venezuela's Minister for Foreign Relations Elias Milano in Port of Spain on Thursday. The opposition is disappointed that the meeting did not address Venezuela's use of armed force against Guyana, which is a contradiction of Article 2 of the Charter of the United Nations. Svetlana Marshall reporting for the Evening News.
I'm Samuel Suknandan. Thanks for joining us.